So we've been talking about feminine strength. And one thing I know is that a lot of women don't want to hear that word because it's been used as a weapon against women for so long. You have to be strong. You have to bear up. You have to understand. You have to endure. In a marriage, for example, it's like a woman takes full responsibility for everything that goes on inside the house, how the marriage turns out and all that, while the husband can sit down and do nothing or act as he likes, and the woman just has to deal with it. Girls have to grow up learning to do this and that, all kinds of house chores, while their brothers can just lounge and relax. I've heard a lot of women say, I don't want to be a strong woman. I just want to relax and be taken care of. I want to live the baby girl life. I want to live the soft life. And I don't blame you. I don't blame anybody because I've been there. I understand what you mean. One thing we need to understand, however, is that view of strength focuses on the resilient side of strength and ignores the capacity side. So if you listen to my last video, from the definition of strength, you will see that there are two sides to it. There's the resilient side, which talks about what you are able to bear, the weight you are able to carry. And then there's the capacity side, which speaks more about what you are able to incubate, what you are able to conceive, what you are able to process and bring out of yourself. And so that side of strength that talks about women taking responsibility has focused so much on the resilient side and neglected the capacity side. Today, I want to talk about the capacity side of things. The first thing we need to realize is that it's important to build strength for yourself. For yourself, not for others. Capacity is about you. What you are able to incubate, what you are able to process, what you are able to handle. The things your mind can take in, the things your emotions can take in, the things you understand, the things you can conceptualize. It's primarily about you, not about others. Having strength is not even just for women, it's for human beings alike. Every human being needs to be strong. I'm talking to women, and so I'm focusing on you as a woman, all right? But this is not talking about you being able to take nonsense while everybody else can do what they like and you just have to deal with their nonsense. No. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you and what you are able to do, what you're able to conceive, carry, not bear up, but carry things that you are able to carry. Now, one thing we need to understand is that many challenges that women face would have been avoided if they had the capacity, if they had the strength. Many women are in problematic situations in their marriage because they don't have the financial capacity to take decisions by themselves. Some of us are in marriages where we should not even have been in the first place because we saw things when we were dating or when we were courting and we didn't deal with them. Why? Because we did not have the emotional capacity to deal with those things. All right? So you've made the mistake, you are in it, you saw things, you didn't have the strength to deal with those things, so you let it slide, hoping that it will go away or that things will change. Now you are in a situation where things are full blown and it's problematic, it's challenging. But you would have avoided that situation if you had the strength in the first place. I'm saying this because I need us to understand why it is important for us to have strength. It's not just about being able to deal with challenges. It's even about being able to avoid challenges sometimes. To curate our lives in such a way that we can avoid unnecessary challenges. Number 2, we need to be strong because adversity comes to everybody. Challenges come to everybody. It may not be marital, but in some form or the other, you will face challenges, and that's not a curse. It's just the way of life. As we go through school, for every term we complete, for every level we complete, we have to take exams. That's what shows that we're ready for the next level. And so it is with life as well. You have to be tested to be sure that you are ready for the next level. So when you say, for example, I want to be a more patient person, how are you going to know if you are more patient if you are not sent somebody who tests your patience, somebody who challenges your patience? I hope you understand where I'm going. Tests and adversity and challenges are necessary for our personal growth and development in life, and they will come to us in different forms. Now, we don't know the form that the challenges will take, and that's why we need to have the capacity on all sides to bear any kind of challenge that comes. Physical capacity, mental capacity, emotional capacity, spiritual capacity. All right? Someone will ask me, where is financial capacity? That comes under mental because it's about know-how, it's about your intellect, financial capacity, everything. So on all fronts, you need to be able to deal with things. You need to have the strength to conceive, incubate, and produce the life that you want. Another reason why you need to have strength is that sometimes strength is not for you, it's for others. We are social beings. We live in community. We live with other people. Sometimes you need strength for others, your spouse, your husband, your children, your family, your siblings, your colleagues, your neighbors. Sometimes the strength we have is not for us only, it's for the people around us. Because people will go through things, and sometimes we will need to be there to support them. And the amount of support that we are able to give is dependent on the amount of capacity we have as well. So sometimes it's not about you, it's about the people around you. Not what you're able to take from them, but what you're able to help them take, if you understand what I mean. One other thing we need to understand is that weakness and dependency serves nobody. Being weak and dependent serves nobody. If you are financially weak or financially dependent, you're not helping yourself and you're not helping the people you are dependent on. If you are emotionally weak, you're not helping yourself, you're not helping the people that you are dependent on. What you are saying is that somebody else has to live their life in such a way that they factor you in before they can live successfully. You will be a liability to people around you. People will stay away. Okay? Weakness does not serve anybody on any side, right? I know we don't pray to be ill or sick, but sometimes we live our lives in a way that makes us sick. We're not taking care of ourselves physically. When you become sick or ill, you become a liability to the people around you, a burden, right? Weakness and dependency does not serve you, and it does not serve the people around you. And so we need to be strong so that we don't become burdens to other people around us. Now, here's the way that we need to conceptualize this issue of strength. You need to think of yourself as a full-grown adult human being, primarily not as a woman, but as a full-grown adult human being. If you're married, for example, look at your husband and the responsibility he has to take up as a person and ask yourself, can I take this on? Right? Can I take this on? Can I do this? What if he were not there? Look at your parents and say, if my parents were not there, can I survive by myself? Can I take responsibility for myself as a full-grown adult? All right? If the answer is no, in one area or the other, then you need to build strength in that area. You are primarily a human being, a full-grown adult, and you need to be able to go through life as one. I want you to view yourself that way rather than viewing yourself as part of a whole, all right? Yes, you are married, and I know there are responsibilities in marriage, shared responsibilities, and I'm not saying that you should not share responsibilities in marriage. But what I'm saying is, primarily, look at yourself as a full-grown adult and say, if I had to live by myself, can I? That's the question you need to be asking. Nobody prays for evil, but I've seen families where the husband departs and then the family goes to rags because the woman has nothing of her own, or she can't handle things on her own. All right? Yeah, I know it's the same for men as well, but let's focus on you as a woman, okay? You need to be able to live your life independently as a person, as a full-grown adult. Ask yourself that question. Can I take charge of my life as an adult, as an individual? That should be your goal, right? Not just saying, okay, I'll leave this part because I have somebody to take care of it, right? First of all, look at yourself. If your husband is earning $1 million and you're also making 500,000, you're making $1 million, you're not worse off for it. You're better off for it, all right? If you are able to take care of things when he can't, you're better off for it, all right? So first look at yourself as an individual, and then we can now talk about the sharing aspects, all right? The other thing you need to think of is to think about life in terms of leaving a legacy, in terms of what you have to offer to the world. We can't just come into this world and be taking from here, taking. What are you offering to the world? What's your offer, your personal offer to the world? What is your legacy? What do you want to leave as the mark that you pass through this world? What exactly is your own offering to the world? Think in terms of that, not in terms of what you can get out of life, but in terms of what you want to be your legacy in the world or on the earth. Thirdly, you need to think about it in terms of the outcomes you want out of life. What do you want to achieve in life? What would you like your life to look like? What do you want life to be like for you? And that can be difficult to do, but one way that can drive it home for you is that you start from the end of things and work backwards to where you are. Let me teach you a quick way that you can do that. Imagine your funeral and people were eulogizing you or giving tributes. What would you want to be said about you? Or perhaps you don't like the idea of thinking about your funeral. It's too morbid for you. Think about your 70th birthday or your 80th birthday and people had to write tributes for you. What do you want them to say about you? What are the things that you would like to be said about you when people are talking about you? Now start from there, then work backwards and evaluate from where I am today. Is this the result I'm going to achieve? From where I am today, how do I get this to be the story of my life? How do I get this to be the reports that people have about me when they're talking about me when I'm 80 or when I'm no longer around? How does this become the story of my life? And sometimes we focus on the big things. Sometimes it's not about the big things. It's not about having a lot of money. Some of us can say about our mothers or our grandmothers, for example, my mother will make sure that nobody is hungry around her. As I said that, I'm sure somebody came to your mind. People come to my mind. Immediately I said that, a picture of somebody popped up in my mind. Nobody goes hungry around them. You can't do that if you don't have capacity. When you're not the one buying the food and you have no input into what goes on in your home, your husband can say, no, I don't want you doing that, right? My grandmother would give every single clergyman she knows a fixed amount every month, and at Christmas she gave them a gift. It was her money. She did it. She would put it in an envelope. She had envelopes she put in her handbag every month as she was going to church, and she would hand it to each person. It doesn't have to be a big amount. It just has to be something you do. I wasn't going to share this, but let me just say it because I don't want to sound like, I'm self-praising. But there's something I do, for example. I live in an estate where public transport is not allowed in. And so whenever I'm driving to the gate or driving in, if I see people I can help, I help them as a matter of choice. I do it intentionally. And my children have grown to see that. When they're talking about me in the future, this will be one of the things that they will say. I know my mom will help people. She will always help. These are one of the examples they will remember. I'm not doing it just because I want them to say that. I'm doing it to genuinely help people. But it's part of what can be said about me. What are you intentional about? You have to be intentional about the outcomes that you want. It's not about the big things. It's not about having a lot of money or having a lot of food in your house. It's about the heart and how you choose to display it. And I gave that example so that you can know that you can do it with small things. All right? Now, as we start to focus on working back and all that, one thing you need to understand is that you have to focus on what you can do in yourself and about yourself. Don't focus on what other people need to change. Focus on what you need to change about yourself and within yourself. All right? I'm going to use this example because I know it's common to a lot of women. So in a marriage, for example, maybe you're having issues in your marriage. There are problems in that marriage. And I know, yes, your husband is problematic and all that. But what can you change about your own self in that situation? I've spoken to a number of women that by the time we analyzed the issue, we found out that they were part of the problem. They were big contributors to the problem. No, you can't change anybody, but you can change yourself. Some of us are so emotional. He's not talking to me for 3 days. His mood has determined my mood. No, I can determine that if you want to be sad, I'm not going to be sad. If you don't want to talk to me, I will talk and I will be happy. That's not going to become my own sadness too. I'm not going to be unhappy and sad because my husband has chosen not to talk to me. If he doesn't talk to me for 2 days, in that time I can still decide to be happy. If he doesn't eat the food I've cooked, that's not going to spoil my mood and spoil my joy and take my peace. No. All right? And sometimes we even contribute in more fundamental ways than that. Look within yourself and look at what you can change in yourself and about yourself. I'm overweight, I don't like it. Do something about it. All right? Don't say, yeah, there's nothing I can do. My health is just, there's nothing I can. Do something. Do the little you can. Start to change what you can change. Don't say, we don't have money. I can't do keto diet. I can't do this. I can't do that. What can you do? Change what you can change about yourself. Look inside yourself. Don't expect the environment to change. There's little you can do about that. Definitely don't expect people to change. You cannot force someone to like you. You cannot force people to do things for you. You can change yourself. You can change your reactions. You can change how you handle things. And one very important thing is that in changing yourself or changing things or developing strength, you need to start by looking at your spirituality. Most times, our human experience is based on what we believe about life, what we believe about where we come from, where we're going to, what life is about purpose, about destiny. Our spirituality. What do we believe about God? Is there a God? If there is a God, how does He interact with us? How does He interact with the earth? What's the implication of our interacting or not interacting with Him? What did He create us for? Why are we here? How did we come to be? Your belief about those things is at the base of your human experience. Everything you will experience in life is founded upon what you believe about the spiritual. Some of us have no thought about the spiritual, but it exists. There are things that you cannot see. There are things that you cannot explain that happen every day. Some of us call it providence. Some of us say it's the earth. is the universe reacting to us, whatever you call it, there is a spiritual side of things, and what you believe about the spiritual affects your human experience. Even if you don't believe about it, it affects your human experience, because what it means is that the spiritual forces can do anything they like to you, and you will have no basis on which to interpret it or which to interact with it, because you don't believe anything anyway. So at the base of all these things, you need to check your spirituality. What is it that I believe? If you watched my last video, I mentioned that our spirituality is the basis upon which we build every other thing. And that's what I'm explaining today. If you want to change what you're experiencing, you need to start by looking at your spirituality. Is there a gap? Some of us have no faith at all, so you have no knowledge of the spiritual. Start looking. Go deep. What do you believe about God? Go and look and start to find out. Some of us have some knowledge, but we have gaps in our knowledge. Some of us small gaps, some of us large gaps. Some of us have strong faith, but when your experience is not gelling with what you want, you need to go back and check. Maybe that you need to tweak some things, or you need to get a deeper understanding of some things. Check your spirituality. I hope you learned something in this video. If you did, tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to take a look around my channel for other interesting stories and valuable videos. You can join the Valiant Women's community by clicking the link in the description below. And of course, don't forget to like this video, to subscribe to my channel, and to share it with somebody else. Ciao!